Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. Hope you had an amazing week and excited to have my guest today and to invite all of the listeners in from wherever you are listening from. I'm your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. Life Transformation Radio is heard in over 90 countries, so whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing while highlighting those transformational moments that changed our lives and how we use them to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also join our Facebook group. Go ahead and search Life Transformation Radio Community on Facebook. Go ahead and join that group. Join in the conversations that happen after the show. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening from. We are on your favorite podcast platform like Apple or Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, Radio Public, Himalaya app, Google Podcasts, Pandora, and we're available on YouTube as well. You can go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Life Transformation Radio. And if you'd like, leave us a rating and review. Let us know what you think of the show and how well we're doing. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, go ahead and give us a call at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. My team is standing by to field your questions. With that said, please help me welcome to the show my guest for today, Daniel Ramsey. Daniel, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Sean, thanks for having me.
Super pumped to have you on the show, man. I've heard a lot about you. I've seen you on other podcasts that I'm friends with. And I know your content, which is by far and beyond amazing, by the way. So I'm excited that I got a chance to have you on this show and continue on with the conversations that I've heard on other shows, which were really, really good.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, Sean. In fact, I'm excited because your podcast is a little different. Life transformation. It's a good conversation to have, and I'm excited to share our story with your audience.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. The title of this episode, which before I start, is Season 4. We've been doing this since 2017, and this is Season 4, and this is Episode 100 in this season. So another milestone right there. Thank you so much again to the listeners who have listened to all of our episodes, and excited to bring you more. The title of this episode is Scale Your Business and Grow Profitability with MyOutDesk founder, Daniel Ramsey. Daniel Ramsey is the founder and CEO of MyOutDesk, the highest rated virtual assistant company in the marketplace with over 500 five-star reviews and over 13 years of experience serving more than 6,000 clients. Daniel founded MyOutDesk during the last global financial crisis of 2008 to help businesses leverage the remote workplace and scale businesses with virtual assistants. In 13 years with MyOutDesk, Daniel has helped thousands of clients scale their businesses and grow profitability. He has worked with some of the largest companies in some of the fastest growing industries. Daniel has had the opportunity to work with many of the largest sales organizations, technology startups, insurance, real estate, and healthcare companies, and he's willing to share those lessons with you. His Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn are right there in the show notes. Click on those. Send him a friend request. Follow him on your favorite social media platform, and let him know that you listened to his episode of Life Transformation Radio. His website, MyOutDesk.com. Go ahead and click on that. Come see what he's about. And if you want to do business with Daniel, I highly recommend that you do so. Daniel, the first question that I have to ask, and I believe is the most important question you could ever ask yourself, is why? Why do you do what you do?
It's a good question, and it's changed over the years, and that's a fun thing. In the early days, I needed talent, and so I'm a real estate broker, contractor, developer, and I was building a company. And in the early days, I needed talent, so I went to the Philippines and sourced my own people. And so in the early days, it was I need talent, and it's kind of cool because that's what our clients come and tell us today. It's why they come to us. They find themselves in a space where they're, running out of time in the day, or not getting everything done that they want to get done, or they're not seeing their family or going to the gym, or they're working weekends and evenings and vacation like I was. And so, in the early days, it was because I needed talent. As time has gone by, like you said, we've been in this game for 13 years, and we've helped over 6,000 clients. Now, today, my answer is very different. My answer is we get the opportunity to serve our clients each and every day. We go through a pretty in-depth process when somebody comes in and says they needed talent. We talk through, who's on their team, what their org chart looks like. We'll go through their systems and processes, what their technology stack looks like, what their goals are for the year, and what they hit and what they didn't hit, and then what their dreams and aspirations are and where they're going in the future. So the answer today is, after doing that process for 6,000 times, we've just seen the impact that we can make on people's businesses and really on lives. Not only the talent that we're able to find for folks, but also the impact on the talent's lives. We're giving them high quality jobs in the U.S. that, our clients are very thankful for their love and attention to their business. So if you ask me today, it's because we get to serve and love on our clients and help them grow and scale. And originally started the business because I needed talent.
Love it. I've heard so many times in business, man, if I could just clone myself. Man, if I could just have 2 or 3 of me,
yep,
I think I'd be a millionaire. Like something along those lines, right? Like, man, I just need another person. But then they don't even spend money on it. I look at everything in business as an investment. Everything.
Right.
If you think of dollar-producing activities, if you focus on your DPAs, dollar-producing activity, for podcasting, let's say podcasting. So let's take my life, for example. After this show, it'll be uploaded to the podcatchers, and then I've got to market it. And then I got to run ads, and then I've got to create a headliner video. Headliner is a great app. https://headliner.app. It's amazing. I create a 3-minute audiogram of either your why, or which is amazing content, by the way, or just the best 3 minutes of the show that I think the listeners really need to get out. Or we'll take your message and combine it. We do a bunch of different things. If I had to do all of that, I feel like my time would be consumed with the podcast. What I like is that I create the episode, we do the episode, I end the episode, and then I walk away.
Right.
And then I have a team that does everything else. If you think of the virtual assistants as part of your team, I feel like, in my opinion, the investment isn't a nuisance. It's not like, I got to hire a guy and that's more money, and that all you're doing is building a team. I mean, really, if you think about it in a simple sense, you're just building a team, and you're concentrating on those dollar-producing activities. Whatever you spend time on better net you an ROI. It better net you something, a relationship, a phone call, money, whatever it is, further your brand. A lot of times people aren't willing to spend the money, and therefore they don't grow as fast, and they spend a lot of time. If you sacrifice your time, you're gonna think that you save money. But if you spend the money, then you don't sacrifice your time. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's a great way of actually doing it. One of the reasons that we do a consultation, and if you go to our website, myoutdesk.com, we walk through the consultation because many times, to your point, entrepreneurs are in that helicopter delegator space where they've got some employees and they've got some team and they've got some growth, but their hands are in all the pies basically. They're stretched thin, and with a little bit more attention to detail and focus, we help them create a plan, like a go forward plan, where we nail the outcome of the virtual assistant. We nail exactly what they need to do. My favorite question, Sean, and you'll like this question, my favorite question to ask entrepreneurs is, hey, if we had to wave a wand and you had to double your business next year, what are the three things that you need to start doing or stop doing or give up, or who do you need on your team? Those are kind of the series of questions. But when you ask that question, what happens, and I'm inviting everybody who's listening right now to really maybe even pause this podcast. Don't stop listening, but pause it and write down your answers. Write down your answers. What do you need to double your business? What is the thing to take you from 2 million to 4 or 10 million to 20? What are the things that you need to start doing, stop doing, delegate, and who do you need on your team? That one question, who do you need on your team? I love it because I'm a sports guy. I love playing sports. I don't like watching it very much, but I love playing sports. And if you ever talk to a billionaire and they bought a sports team, they don't think I'm going to manage that team. They think, who do I need to hire to manage my team so that I can go to the Super Bowl? And yet entrepreneurs, we're messed up. We think it needs to be us. And the truth is it just simply doesn't. Who do you need on your team so that you can double your business? That series of line of thinking is our favorite questions here at MyOutDesk.
I love the question. I want to go a little deeper.
Sure.
I think and I don't know, but my intuition is saying maybe the first question should be, what is it you think you need? Because asking that question is, who do you need on your team? You're like, I don't know, man. I need a guy who's good at marketing. I need a guy who, but there's no afterthought like, well, why do you need those people? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like for me, my team is my designer. Shout out to 2P Studios. Jay Perez is absolutely phenomenal. You can go look him up. 2P's is the number 2, PS, and then Studios, 2P's Studios. He does our podcast graphics for our clients. He does our book covers for our clients. He does all of our graphics. The guy is insanely good at what he does.
Yeah.
So I've got that, right? I've got a marketer. I do marketing too, but I got another marketer, and he does a lot of some of the content, but he does a lot of the push, right? Those boosted ads that we don't really quite know, like what's a Facebook pixel, all the questions about, do I do Google AdWords? Do I actually utilize the Google platform, as in Google segmentation pre-roll video ads? Do I do Snapchat ads? Am I doing Instagram stories? Should I even be on TikTok? Like that type of stuff, like the advertising and everything. Maybe we need to do that. I have another person, so it's 4 of us, and I have another person that can really go in and be like, yo, man, I saw this one call for speakers. You should actually apply for this call for speakers. Hey, I got an email sent out to this. So it's like I wouldn't call it PR. I would say basically our manager. They're the ones on the phone. They're the ones that are reaching out to these. Hey, do you need a speaker? Hey, saw that you posted about wanting a podcast built for you. Would you like to have a conversation with our guy? That type of stuff.
Right.
It's our phone guy. It's our reach out guy. So I'm thinking about your question. What do I need? But do I even need anything?
Well, Sean, since we're going to do this, man, we're going to do this live, which is fun. Sean, what's the one thing that if you do it today, it would completely transform your business and allow you to double your revenue for the 2021 year?
What would I have to do?
Mm-hmm.
So based on numbers, I would need to add 3 more podcast clients who want to create, launch, and monetize a podcast for their business. And I would need to do that consecutively month after month, increase it by 3. So right now we're averaging between 4 and 6.
Okay.
I would love to get 3 more. But if I did that or time and I did more speaking, I usually try to speak about 20, 25 times a year. If I spoke 5 more times at $500 to $7,500, those 5 engagements brought me, then I would hit that goal.
Which one of those 2, when you think about the future of your business, would feel more fulfilling and give you a better, a more solid business and bring you more happiness, joy?
Speaking. But you talk about solid business. Look what happened with COVID. They're not even hosting events. TEDx events are all virtual. A lot of the events are virtual. I've spoken at this conference every year for $5,000. This year, when they gave me the deposit, they said, you know what, just keep the deposit, which is usually half. We're going to go virtual, and we're not going to pay you the full amount. I'm like, well, I mean, that's what I get. Yeah, but you're not flying out. Well, you do realize you're paying for my time, not my baggage. Like, you're paying for my knowledge. You're paying for my time. My time hasn't gone down in value, but they don't look at it that way. They look at, well, you don't need a hotel. You don't need to travel. You don't need to – that's not the point. The point is it's my value that I'm giving to your audience.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so perfect. So we would focus on the other thing, getting 2 or 3 more, podcast clients every single month. So what are the activities that lead? And you can kind of see where I'm going, right? So we'll try to help our clients narrow the focus on what their most important initiatives are. And then we start talking about, okay, who's on your team, which you did beautifully for us. And then we'll walk through, okay, what's your system and process for getting more podcast listeners? Who on your existing team is currently responsible for that, and then can we add talent to supercharge that particular of your business? And we really serve our customers in 4 different areas. So sales development reps, people who just pound the phones all day long. I love those. That's one of my favorite roles to help people with. Marketing coordinators. The other one is an admin or an operations person, somebody who's just kind of moving calendars around and just filling out your applications and doing all your paperwork and loving on your clients. And they're just a pure operations admin person. And then we have customer service and support. Those 4 areas are typically the places where we add value to our customers. And so step 1, how do I double my business? Step 2, narrow the focus and get the 1 or 2 things that really matter for next year for you to hit your numbers. And then work through a system and a process that a virtual assistant could take over in order to actually add value to the business.
Outstanding. I like that a lot. I will say, for me, someone pounding the phones, I don't like that for this reason. Telemarketers suck. There's really no difference than the person's like, hi, and I get these calls all the time because let's say, oh, I like his ebook, or, oh, he's putting on a masterclass. Like, I'd kind of like to learn that. Or maybe I want to put one of my people through it, right? So, I can sign up. Of course, I never give out my phone because then I get all these push messages and text messages and things. But, that's what they do. And then I'll get a phone call like, hey, this is from Daniel Ramsey's office or whoever, right? Just wanted to make sure that I saw that you were looking for this. This is what we offer. This is what we did. And I just like, I'm not real sure. And then I get the Grant Cardone. Well, I mean, what would your life be if you didn't do it? And my answer is always the same. Like, not a hard question. Yeah. And then you get the Grant Cardone-esque answer to the very next question they ask. Would you want to invest in this program? And of course you're like, well, I don't know. I really got to talk to the spouse. Very next one. Do you ask your spouse for permission for everything? And that is where I go WWE. I go straight WWE. Yeah, look here, guy. My wife and I are a partnership, and we are a communion built in God. And the fact that you want to create a divisive rhetoric by me investing in something and breaking God's communion between me and my wife just shows the level of disrespect and the negative empathy you have for what you do. And I hope you really have a nice day, but I doubt it. And I'll just hang up the phone.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny.
As soon as they drive that wedge, do you always ask your spouse? Yeah, dick.
Jeez.
Yes.
It's funny though.
So bad.
I have an opposite experience. Like last summer, our HVAC broke down at our house, right? And so my wife and I are looking at each other, and we're like, it's 100 degrees out, and we're in California, so it gets really hot here. And we're looking at each other, and I'm like, we gotta fix this problem right now, because it's gonna get hot. And we got little kids, and so we call for companies, 4 different companies. And these aren't like I don't like the small mom and pop, run out of one truck kind of HVAC companies. I called the big boys, right? I called 4. Yeah. Guess what? Only one called me back, and it took them 2 days, and then they told us that they were busy. Out of the 4 companies that we called, only one called us back, and it took 2 days. So when I say SDRs, I'm not saying cold callers who are pounding the phone. Those results never are good, because like your story is a perfect example of what you have to do to get somebody to talk to you, But what I'm talking about, when somebody raises their hand because they have a need, giving them a call, qualifying them, making sure their need is reasonable and can be handled in that time frame, seeing if they need any help, and then getting somebody to actually get on the phone with them that can help them solve their problem or need. Our sales development reps are great. In fact, one of my favorite stories, we've got a client in Georgia, and his name's Dan also, and he actually started having his virtual assistant say that he is in the Philippines. So, hey, this is Dan. I'm calling from, his company's name. I'm actually calling you all the way from the Philippines, thousands of miles away, but you obviously had a need, and so I'm reaching out just to see if I can serve you. And I was like, wow, that's brilliant. And so, we're really excited about our SDR team. About 3,000 of our 6,000 people have been in that space for us.
Love it. That is super cool, man. It reminds me of when I get a friend request on social media.
Yep.
I do one of 2 things. 100% of the time, I will fire off a quick message. Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for your friend request. How can I be of value to you or support you in what you're doing?
Yep.
Done. Do you know how many people don't do that? Number 1. Number 2, if I see that this person, and I go through everybody's profile and I stalk them, and I'm like, okay, let me check out what they're doing, because I don't want any weirdos, to track me down. So I look at what they're doing, and let's say that a lot of their content is, I'm a struggling podcaster, or man, I'd love to break into the speaking business, or man, I really need a virtual assistant I'm slammed with stuff, man. I really need somebody, and it's all over their social media, right? I'll fire off a video. I'll record a video. Daniel, I was going through your profile, and I noticed that you were saying that you needed 1, 2, 3 more of you. Well, one of our platforms that we're really proud of, or one of our results that we're really proud of, is out of the 6,000 people that we've worked with, nobody has ever come back and regretted saying, wow, I wish I had a me instead of the person I hired. That person I hired was really phenomenal. They never again will say, I need another me. They'll just come back and say, hey, I need that guy that you need the guy that you sent me to, I need that guy again, So just something like a simple video on Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn or something moves the needle.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, and that's something that our marketing folks do for us internally when we have any kind of an event or when we have any kind of a webinar, we'll get, I mean, I know one of my favorite stories when COVID came out, in service to our existing, customers, we had a go remote guide. So we're, 1,300 folks in the Philippines, full-time employed. Everybody works remotely. And in March, when the whole country and the world got shut down, we put out content around what you needed to think about with going remote. Like, what are the most important things, and what tech do you have to have? What tools do you need? What kind of camera should you have? All the stuff that you had to worry about and think about when the world was shutting down. And we had over 1,000 people come through a different webinar series about how to get PPP money, how to go remote, how to kind of organize your life now that the kids and the wife and the husband and everybody's at home, dogs and fish in my case. And so, and we had 1,000 people. There's absolutely no way I could have managed that without our marketing virtual assistants who coordinated my schedule, coordinated the webinars, coordinated the items of value that we gave out. And so if you're listening right now, what I would encourage you to think of, what are the things that are that only you can do, only you inside of your business? What are the things that are in your unique skill set that only you can do for the business? Like, you couldn't hire somebody to do this, this job. What happens is it really narrows your focus. In real estate, we have a highest and best use. Like, if you go to a corner, if you have a piece of property that's on a corner and it's a high, trafficked corner, well, guess what? You need a gas station there because that's the highest and best use for that space. In being an entrepreneur, that same thing exists with your time. What is the highest and best use of my time? And so we just help people build systems and processes around everything that they're doing inside of their business, and watch what happens after they build those systems and processes. Not only can they hire our virtual assistants, but they can hire employees and give away the majority of their day. And that's when you get real growth and real scale inside of a business.
Oh, yeah. I am fascinated and intrigued and mortified at the same time by the number of people that I sit on a call with. And I'll give away free calls all the time. I mean, it's just, I don't know. If I want to do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. Same thing with speaking. Like, somebody goes, well, we don't really have a budget. Would you be willing to speak for free? And a lot of things go through my head. Do I want to? Is it a great event? Do I want to support them in that way? What kind of ROI? Or do I just want to give at the moment? Do I just feel like giving? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it, right? But I'm just fascinated and intrigued and mortified when I sit on a call with somebody. I'm like, where are your leads coming from? Well, I post a lot on social, or, I mean, I have a podcast, okay, but how many people are listening? Like, what are your numbers? What are your analytics? More than half have no idea. They don't know where their leads come from. They're just posting everywhere and hoping something happens. There's no real strategy. There's no real system. I'm like, dude, how is this? To me, it's second nature. I mean, I was in 4th grade shoveling snow in Michigan winters. I had a strategy. I knew that the old lady down the street came home at like 5 o'clock because she was over playing bingo on a Friday. Like, I knew where she was. I knew that the neighbor across the street didn't want us to shovel the snow. So I never went to his house. He told me, no, we'll never hire you. Cool. Awesome. My next door neighbor, that's the first one I go to because it's closest to the house and it's en route to the lady down the street. So if I go to a certain time, these are all strategies. Most people, if you think about it, most people are like, I'm going to message everybody. The neighbor across the street said no. Does it make sense for me to go to his house? Okay. Does it make sense for you to keep messaging the same people over and over again? They're not going to change their mind. So the whole thing about, man, you nailed it. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. That system, the process, the strategy, like if you work the strategy, there is no secret to success. There is no business secret that someone has locked up in the MyOutDesk vault. It's consistency, it's programming, processes, systems, and you know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's very challenging. I mean, you nailed it. Most entrepreneurs are successful from sheer force of will. Like they're like, I just sold the thing, or I just got the contract. And when you ask them, well, how do you succeed? They're just like, well, because I'm awesome, right? And every time we're talking to somebody, we're like, what, well, I won because I was awesome. And I start asking questions, and it's like, it's not repeatable, meaning they did it once and they're nervous about being able to do it again. And so what we help people with is really defining what the job is, what the role looks like, what kind of tech do you need, what's the step-by-step process. We've coined a play, pause, do, which is our favorite training process here at MyOutDesk. We kind of call it the mod way. But if you're doing a task, let's say you mentioned analytics. Let's say you're going over your analytics every week. Well, and then you're exporting it, putting it into a tracking, system, and you're really focused on getting more traffic to X, Y, and Z, whatever that is. Well, you can actually record yourself doing the work of reviewing your analytics and then doing the work of actually putting it into your reporting system and actually then talking about the how, what, and why, meaning where did you get it, why does it matter, and all of that. And then once you've done 3 to 5 example videos of you doing that work, you can hand that off to a virtual assistant. They can write up a step-by-step process in Word or a Google Sheet or something. And now you have 3 to 5 videos. You have a written checklist, like a step-by-step written checklist, and that becomes an SOP. And when you have SOPs, you can hire others so that they can do the tasks that need to get done, and you can go off and do the important work. And so we work with clients day in and day out to figure out, hey, what can I outsource? What could I, give to an employee? What are the best things to, take off my plate? And here's the trick, Sean, because if you take things off of your plate and then you go to the gym or to the movie theater or, hang out all day at a donut shop, then your business isn't going to scale and grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do is you put it into a system and process, you delegate it down, you give it to somebody, you make sure they understand how to do it and they're rocking it. And then after that, you have to go and find ways, additional and new ways to add value to your own business. And that's when you really start to scale and grow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I nailed it. Great insight on that, my friend. One thing that I was thinking about, and then I want to talk about your transformation, as I was listening and internalizing and really kind of being self-aware, I was like, am I doing that? But what about this? And just a lot of things were going through my head. The one thing that stands out, is the process, the standards, the systems. And I hear you talking about, are you downloading it into a sheet? Do you know your numbers? Do you know, like all that stuff? And I always kind of self-intake. I'm like, am I doing that consistently? And actually, I'm not. I should be looking at my numbers every week, and I have somebody that does, but man, my follow-up sucks. Like just listening, and I'm like, okay, that's good. I think that's good. But I came to the conclusion, I was like, yeah, my follow-up sucks. Like I got to get better about digging into like what those numbers are, and usually I'll glance at it. Like I'll go to PayPal or I'll go to wherever our merchant processing is, and I'll look. I go to accounts receivable. I'm like, okay, this is what we got. Okay, what's accounts payable? Okay, and I just keep looking and everything, and I just kind of glance. But do I dig into the numbers? No, I have it for, I'd say probably about 4 to 6 weeks. I have it, and we've been so busy. I'm like, hey man, are we good? Like we know what we're doing, and I'll glance. I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't see any glaring anomalies. Like we're good. Move on. And I used to, dig in. Excel docs. I'm an Excel genius. I love Excel, and I used to just dig into that. But yeah, I haven't. So I think a component. I just thinking about it. I think if you guys, and I don't know if you do, but I think if you had a like an intake sheet, just as like a freebie or something. Like, hey, here's an intake sheet. Like, what do you spend the most amount of time on? Do you know your numbers? Like just regular questions you could ask. Just like intake questions you could ask and like send that out as like a checklist. Like, do you know this? Do you know this? And I was like, oh my God, I don't. Like, then you need us. Like, You definitely need us then. Anyway, I was just thinking about that. Some kind of a freebie set to an email system on a website somewhere, build an email list. Anyway, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, what we typically do, we've got a very clear focus on what a virtual assistant can do and what they can't do.
Sure.
And I think that's, after you get to a point where you've helped 5,000-6,000 people, you start seeing patterns. And there's really interesting patterns. And I wanted to tell your audience about this. I mean, like 96% of businesses out there never cross the $1 million mark. So most businesses stay small. Mom and pop, small lifestyle businesses, what I'd like to call them. And the realities are, of the 96% of those businesses that are under $1 million in revenue, 60% of them tell the IRS that, they made no money. And so the struggle of being an entrepreneur and the skill set that gets to $1 million isn't the skill set that's going to get you to 10, and then that skill set isn't the skill set that's going to get you to 50. And those are the kind of I guess benchmarks. Getting to $1 million, only 4% of businesses out there ever pass $1 million. Getting to 10 million, it's like 0.004. And so you realize, oh my goodness, this is hard. The business of creating systems and processes, hiring the right people, putting people in place to help you, really grow and really scale. Most people don't do it, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it, but just know if your goal is to double or your goal is to grow, then these are some of the conversations you have to have with yourself. Is like, hey, who do I need on my team? What do I need to start doing in order to double my revenue? And then, what are the systems and processes that I have in place today? And do I need to remake them?
Love it. Oh, I love that so much. I want to talk about your transformation. I know we go through a lot of transformations in life, but I'm curious about, is there a moment, a transformational experience that happened to you, which then put you on the path to what you're doing today?
Yeah, my honeymoon, man, and we talk so much about our wives on this podcast. They're getting shouted out right now.
Right.
So, and it'll actually tie in nicely. My wife's pregnant with our third child right now, so it's a good tie-in. Yeah. So 2009, I'm on my honeymoon. Married my bride. I'm excited. We're in Guatemala. So picture this: we're in a Francis Ford Coppola resort. It's rainforest, monkeys in the background, and we're in bungalows, like those buildings that you see on top of 50 feet up in the sky, right? I mean, we're in this beautiful bungalow, and it's picturesque. There's this huge lake in front of our bungalow, and we went swimming and hiking through the rainforest and Mayan ruins, and it's just incredible. But I found myself at 1 a.m. working on my honeymoon, and the bartender steals my cell phone, takes it from me, takes a picture of me. I'm not happy, by the way, Sean. And then he starts making fun of me. He's like, dumb white guy, working on his honeymoon, beautiful bride back in his room. What's wrong with Americans? And he's right. And by the way, he's doing it all in Spanish, and I speak just enough Spanish to be dangerous.
Wow.
But in that moment, I knew something had to shift. And if you've been listening to this show, I've hammered on, system and process, and I've hammered on training, and I've hammered on these questions. Who do I need on my team? And what's the most important, thing for my business to actually double? Those questions came out of that one moment where I'm like, man, I want to stay married. I want to have a family one day. I thought I was going to own a business, and instead I have a business that owns me.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was my mom. My mom did that. Man, she owns a home health care business. And I understand because you have patients and things, but home health care business, somebody gets surgery, they have to go home, they have to be, PT, physical therapy, or it's an older person who needs some kind of care at home. Anyway, she has home health care patients. And she's sitting there 10 o'clock at night. I come home, I leave, been in the military for years. Come home, I leave. Mom, what are you doing? Well, I got to get these charts done. And don't you have an office staff for that? Don't you have things? Well, I could just do it. Like, it's fine. Like, mom, come on. Mom, please. Just hire somebody. Hire somebody that you can focus on your DPAs. Oh, I know. No, you don't, because you didn't do it.
Well, and I don't fault your mom, and most entrepreneurs don't. I mean, there are some costs, right? There are certainly some costs. Sure. When you grow a team, you've got to, I'm responsible, literally, and Sean, this will blow your mind. I'm responsible for 1,300 people's livelihoods. And on average, our team members, they have 4 other family members. So you take 1,300 times 5, there's a lot of families that depend on MyOutDesk not only being financially sound, but having good business practices, taking care of their people, making sure our health care was right. I mean, like all of the things, right? So there are times when, as a leader, I question my own wants and dreams of being one, right? But the amount of impact that we've been able to make over the last 13 years, not only in our charity, but in our people's lives and the entrepreneurs that we serve, make it, in my case, all worth it. So the juice is worth the squeeze, but not for everyone, because there's a lot that goes along with that.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. Yeah, and that's a conversation that literally my wife and I will have, I don't know, once every week or two, maybe 2 weeks, especially with kids doing virtual school. And like, she's got she's in cosmetology school to like upgrade everything that she's ever done. She wants to open her own business, open up a salon. So that's probably so I built 4 businesses since 2004. My highest one was an entertainment company. And we got to 650K. So I totally understand. You're like, you're never going to get to $1 million. I'm like, I definitely know that. Like, I was almost there. And that was in 4 years. We went from 0 to 650 in 4 years. I think in another maybe 4 years, I could have, gotten to that $1 million mark. I don't know. However, she tells me, she says, man, you're just like it's 8:30 at night. Like, you need to call it quits. Like, we have kids. We have a 17, 13, 6, and 3-year-old. She's like, are you done? I'm like, hold on. I got one more thing. I got to process this video, and I got one more thing. She goes, you have other people that can do that. And I was like, well, I want to get it done, okay? They're working on other stuff. And she'll go, well, what's the designer doing? He's got 3 book covers he's working on, like, in a week. Like, in 7 days, he needs to produce 3 book covers, and then I've got more work for him after that because I have 2 more podcast clients that are launching podcasts. And then we're launching 2 more podcasts in November. I think the dude's busy. She says, you need to hire somebody else. I'm like, I could just knock it out real quick. It'll take me 20 minutes. Just let me knock this thing out. She's like, you've been up here for an hour. I'm like, ah. So like, I know I can knock it out, but some people think ROI is if I spend $5, I should get 10. If I spend $100, I should get 1,000. Sometimes the ROI is the currency of your wife or your spouse or your kids. Like, love and affection could be a currency too. You might pay $100 a month or however much you guys charge, could be whatever, 500, whatever, to get that time with your family. I think it would be priceless if you ask me.
Well, and it's the one commodity you can't buy more of. We can always make more money. We can always buy more things, but time, once you're done, you're done. And so what we do is we help entrepreneurs sit down, organize exactly, their org chart, figure out what their opportunities are, where they need to focus, and then we put together a plan that involves hiring people to help them do exactly what you're talking about, buy back some of their time. In fact, I've never met an entrepreneur who doesn't say they can't, if they had more time, they'd accomplish anything. And that's just how we're wired. We're all wired for that. And so, it's with a lot of pleasure. It's that this is my life's work. It literally is a thing that keeps me going. I show up every single day. I do my part because the impact on the entrepreneur and their family, as well as on our virtual assistant and their family, is just so amazing.
I love that you said it's your life's work. Love that, man. So I want to get into the message, and I want to close. My message for everybody, and what I was thinking of just now, is time and money are 2 things that people willingly never give up. They will willingly never give up their time and money. That said, time and money are two things that people willingly never give up. And you either sacrifice your time to get the money or you sacrifice your money to get the time back. This is generally, in my opinion, how it goes. If somebody listening right now comes in at this moment of the show, what is your message that you want to leave the listeners?
You're not alone. And being a entrepreneur is hard. The numbers support that it's hard. We're taxed at the highest bracket. We have the most pressure. We demand the highest standards of ourselves and, by extension, our team. And yet, it doesn't have to land all on you. You can get help. It's affordable help. There are real people across the world who are willing to dive in and love your baby like it's their own, and they do it for a third or a quarter of the cost that you would normally have to pay in order to get this kind of talent. So, my message is we're here to serve and help our audience, and, coming to us and talking to us, it's completely free. We have 8 folks who are experts at doing this kind of deep dive analysis on your business. So my message is come on over. Let's have a conversation. It's 100% free. The only thing it'll cost you is a little bit of your time.
Definitely next year, maybe like February, more than likely going to reach out because we just created some more offerings for people. So I know I'm going to need another person to kind of offload some of those, not really, I wouldn't call them admin tasks, but, just somebody that I could just give this project to and be like, hey, man, can you run with this? Like, can you send out X amount of emails at this amount of time? Or can you, can you edit this one thing? Or can you do this one thing? So definitely going to be talking to you about what I can offload because I feel like in 2021, the way that virtual remote working and the way that the world is now, we've launched more podcasts, launched more books this year than last year, and we've worked with more people than last year. We've made more money than last year, and I assume that next year it's not going to be any different. The trend is going to be the same. So I'm excited, man. I really learned a lot, and I knew it was going to be an amazing conversation, but I'm definitely I got a note here to reach out to you towards like end of January, beginning of February, and just see what kind of help I can get, to see what you guys can offer and, how we can scale and all that. So I'm excited.
Well, there you go. That means this was a good podcast. I got Sean on board to do a consultation with me next year. So there we go. Rock and roll. And if anybody's listening and they want to follow suit, man, it would be my honor and pleasure to serve you and help you grow and scale your business.
Love it. Thank you so much, Daniel. This has absolutely been amazing.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around him and even globally. Conversation resonated with you. If you need the help, if you need to offload some of your tasks, if you need to grow and scale and become more profitable, reach out to Daniel Ramsey at MyOutDesk.com. The link is right there in the show notes. Connect with them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Watch his videos. On his page, he's got a lot of lives that he's done. He does a lot of other shows as well. You can hear him on a lot of different podcast platforms. So go ahead, connect with them, get down with that consultation that he's talking about, and see if they can meet your needs, which I know that they can. If you want to donate to Life Transformation Radio, in the show notes is a link. You can donate to our cause for Life Transformation Radio. With that, I close the show by saying live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.